One ordinary morning, a wealthy man's world was turned upside down, not by money, power, or influence, but by the very person he least expected. She walked into his life quietly, unnoticed at first, just another cleaner in a long line of hired help. But this time, things were different. What happened next shocked everyone, including him. If you're watching this, chances are you love stories about strength, justice, and how one small act can change everything. So, if this touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story like this again. And if you've ever faced someone who underestimated you, drop a comment below and share your experience. Because sometimes, the most powerful lessons come from the people others ignore. Now, let's begin. The sun had barely risen when Alicia stepped into the sleek, high-rise building. She wore her usual uniform, simple, neat, and professional. At 32, she'd worked for Elite Care Services for 5 years, cleaning homes for some of the city's wealthiest families. It wasn't glamorous work, but it paid the bills while she pursued her graduate degree in psychology. Today was supposed to be just another day, another house, another job. But as she entered the luxurious penthouse on the top floor, something felt off. She rang the doorbell once, twice, then used her key. The silence inside was eerie, broken only by the sound of her footsteps echoing across the marble floors. "Hello," she called out politely. No answer. She moved through the living room, setting up her cleaning cart with quiet efficiency. As she reached the hallway, a cry pierced the stillness. It wasn't the usual cry of hunger or tiredness. It was desperate, urgent. Alicia paused. She didn't have permission to go beyond the main areas, but the sound pulled at her. She followed the sound to a small bedroom where a baby lay alone in a crib, face flushed, eyes swollen from crying. No nanny, no parent, just a helpless child. Without thinking, Alicia approached the crib. Her hands were gentle as she picked up the baby, rocking him softly. "Shh. I'm here," she whispered. Within seconds, the crying stopped. The baby nestled into her arms as if he'd been waiting for someone to finally see him. Just then, heavy footsteps thundered down the hall. "What do you think you're doing?" a deep voice snapped. Alicia turned slowly to see a tall man in an expensive suit, his face twisted with anger. "That's my son," he barked. "Put him down." She obeyed, handing the baby back carefully. But the moment the child touched his father's arms, he began to wail again, louder than before. The man tried rocking him, talking to him, even bouncing him slightly, but nothing worked. "I don't understand," he muttered. "He stopped crying with you." Alicia tilted her head. "Babies sense tension," she said simply. "They feel when someone is angry or stressed." His eyes narrowed. "Are you saying I make my own son cry?" "I'm just explaining what happens," she replied calmly. For a brief second, something flickered in his expression. Curiosity, maybe even respect, but it vanished quickly. "Convenient," he scoffed. "Very convenient. First you steal my watch, now you're some kind of baby whisperer." Alicia stiffened. "I didn't take anything." "You were the last one in my closet," he shot back. "Where's my Rolex?" She took a breath. "You can check my bag, or call the police. I have nothing to hide." As he reached for his phone, the baby cried louder. Alicia stood tall, her jaw tight, but her voice remained steady. She'd heard this tone before, seen this look. Accusations without proof, suspicion without cause. And she knew how these stories usually ended. For them, not for her. Still, she stayed calm. "Fine," she said. "Call the police. Let's get this cleared up." He smirked. "Oh, I will, and I'll be sending a message to your company, too. People like you always think they can walk in and take advantage." Alicia watched him type furiously, her mind already racing ahead. She had recorded every word, every accusation, every lie, because she knew something he didn't. She wasn't just a cleaner, she was also a former investigator. Back in Jamaica before moving here, She'd worked undercover for 5 years, solving cases, tracking evidence, and exposing corruption. She hadn't told anyone, not even her co-workers, but she never forgot those skills, and today they would save her. When the police arrived, they listened carefully. They checked the cameras, they asked questions, and slowly, piece by piece, the truth came out. Alicia had arrived at 9 a.m. and hadn't left once. The footage showed him dropping something near his car the night before, a glint of metal. Hours later, security found a watch under his vehicle. His watch. He had lost it himself. The humiliation was instant. The officers exchanged glances, clearly uncomfortable. Alicia stood there, silent, letting the truth speak for itself. Later that afternoon, as he sat alone in his penthouse, reality crashed over him like a wave. His wife had been lying to him. His lawyer wasn't returning calls. His business partners were panicking. And, worst of all, his name was trending online. A reporter reached out asking about 3 past discrimination lawsuits, all settled quietly. Then came the bombshell. A full audio recording had surfaced. Not just of the watch incident, but of every word he'd spoken that day, every insult, every false accusation, every arrogant remark. It was played live on national television. His reputation shattered in hours. By evening, his board of directors held an emergency meeting. He was suspended indefinitely. His wife filed for divorce. His assets were frozen, and the penthouse was sold to pay legal fees. 6 months later, Alicia sat in her new office, 23rd floor, glass windows overlooking the skyline. She ran a growing investigative firm, hired specifically to expose workplace discrimination and protect domestic workers from abuse. Meanwhile, the man who once called her a thief pushed a shopping cart through a grocery store, trying to find temporary work. He had lost everything, not because of a stolen watch, but because he underestimated the wrong woman, and now he lived with the consequences. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about becoming so strong, so successful, so unstoppable that their hatred becomes irrelevant. Moral lesson: never judge someone by their job, appearance, or skin color. True strength lies in resilience, preparation, and knowing your worth, even when others refuse to see it.